Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 4th episode of the Steambudds podcast. My name is Thomas and James, and I'm here with...
End of your films. Woo!
Hello. Yay. Well, this is sort of an unplanned podcast, and that's for a very simple reason. I recently read the book Sodor Reading Between the Lines, written by Christopher Audrey.
What?
And, what? No way. And you haven't read it.
No, I have not.
Have you had any spoilers of the book? Besides
yes.
what I've told
you? Yes, I have.
Would you like to enlighten us?
Okay, so I know about Walter. I know about Walter the Black Engine, or Walter the White Engine, if we want to go by the correct pronunciation of his name. I know about Kitty Kindly, that I do, because you told me.
That's because of me.
And I know that Sodor goes nuclear.
Nothing about that is in Reading Between the Lines.
Oh, it isn't? Well,
I think this is one of them being Mrs. Kindly, but I think this is all from the 2020 Sodor in 2025 thing.
Yeah, but I know Walter is mentioned in it. I know that.
I have not read the name Walter in this, or I just glossed over it with.
You've not read the Q&A section of the book?
You know, let me go to the Q&A section again.
Because I'm pretty sure he mentions Walter. Yeah, he says the austerity engine and stuff, and then it says his name is Walter, and he's like the white engine. Well, he doesn't say that, but I know Walter is painted black. That I do know.
White, black. Jesus Christ. Well, you know, it's not the only
because it's
racist
Walter the
thing
Black
in this
Engine.
book, so
that's not a racist thing. It's a color of the engine.
Yeah, but there is a racist thing in this book, which is really, really funny. We'll get to that later.
And there's one other thing. I know that the hat fan...
What was the name of the austerity engine, and what was his original color? The austerity engine was called Walter, and his color scheme is black. Okay, I do remember reading this, but I don't know where Walter comes in. Anywhere.
It comes in a lot of places, I think.
We're not going to take that out of context. Is he like a background character?
No, he's never mentioned in anything.
Oh, so he's kind of like Barry.
Yeah, he is
only with less
Barry.
Information.
Actually, with more information, because we know he's an austerity engine and stuff from the beginning. We always knew that because it was alluded to that the Fat Controller is going to buy an austerity engine. There's one other thing that I do know about the book. There's one other thing. And that is that the Fat Controller, at least one of them gets very freaky with their cousin. That's one thing I know.
I literally wrote this down in my notes. I wanted to ask you, where the fuck did you hear about incest? I'm gonna read.
From what I know, it's inspired by the royal family in real life. That hey, they do incest. Why don't we have the Fat Controller do that as well?
Are we just gonna read the Fat Controller's entire section?
You could read it.
Why not? I'm just gonna. Okay, there are 4 Setopum hats, so that's doable in about 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Setopum hat, the first, 1880 to 1956. This gentleman is first mentioned in The Sad Story of Henry, the 3 railway engines, page 40. When he appears as the Fat Director, various suggestions have been made for the original basis of the character, and all are wrong. My father had not even met the 2 main suggestions, Horace May of the Bluebell Railway and the Reverend Teddy Boston. So the Fat Controller is not based on anyone.
No, I think that was pretty obvious, though.
When the story was created in 1942. However, he is, in fact, based on no one in particular. Yeah, I just said that. Though it is possible that my doctor at the time the story was created made an unconscious contribution. My father wanted to create a benevolent being who was in charge. My doctor, so far as I was concerned, was in charge of me at the time, and it may be that he was a portly aspect. I don't know, and I was never even aware of his name, but perhaps an association of ideas involved in my father's mind. My father, perhaps warming to the idea, gives the fat director a larger role in Thomas the Tank Engine. In 1948, the year in which the third book, James the Red Engine, was published, our railways become nationalised as British Railways, and company directors became, at least so far as railways were concerned, beings of the past. Regional controllers came in. The Northwestern Railway, now Region, and the fat director, though nominally nationalized along with the rest, were actually permitted to go on in pretty much their old way, and things did not change a great deal, apart from the fat director's title being changed to that of the fat controller. He became more generally known as Sir Topham Hatt, his actual name, in 1984 with the introduction of the TV series. See also FAQ section, TV and video. Sir Topham Hatt was, as plain, Mr. Topham Hatt, the engineer in charge of the construction of the Tidmouth, Knapford and Elsbridge Light Railway. When the job was finished, he was made director of the company, and after the Wellsworth and Sudbury Railway was linked with the original line at Knapford, was elected the director of that company too, the role in which he first appears. See above. He was created a baronet for his services to the Railway of Sodor in 1948. He married Jane, sister of Mr. later Sir Handel Brown, and retired in 1954 in favour of his son, Charles, whom the board had no hesitation in electing as his successor. So that's the first one, which is already a bunch of interesting stuff.
It's all stuff that we pretty much knew beforehand. And some of it, like the TV connection that is more well known from Mr. Topham Hatt due to the television show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all interesting stuff, I have to agree.
Well, Sir Topham Hatt II, 1914 to 1997. Actually, of course, Sir Charles Topham Hatt, he was the fat controller from 1954 to 1984 when he retired in favour of his own son. See below. During his period of office, he began improvements to the harbour at Knapford, planned by his father, and reopened the Arlesburg branch in 1965. Surprisingly, in June. Being responsible for the construction of the Arsdale Railway and for establishing the ballast consortium which uses it, he married Amanda Crowry in 1940 and they had 2 children. Stephen Topham Hatt, the current fat controller, born in 1941, and Bridget, who was born in 1943. Charles inherited his father's baronetcy in 1956 and died 13 years after
I think it's meant
retirement.
to say baronetcy. I think it's meant to say baronetcy, not baronetcy.
Yeah, I must say, in this book there are a lot of typos. A lot. I've even seen...
Yeah, I know that.
I found a bunch of double spaces as well. At least the cover of mine isn't warped. I've seen some where the title goes over the actual middle part of the book, which isn't in my case, so it's fine. And honestly, with all the AI shit these days, I kind of find it charming that there are so many mistakes.
Yeah, I get that.
So, it's fine. Well, Sir Topham Hatt III, B. 1941. Sir Stephen Topham Hatt... Yeah, it's Stephen. Sir Stephen Topham Hatt is mentioned with his sister Bridget in Toby the Tram Engine. While on a family holiday in England with his parents and grandfather, Sir Topham Hatt I, he became the fat controller in 1984, succeeding to his father's baronetcy, and again, baronetcy is written, in 1997. In 1970, he married Helen Margaret, a distant cousin and granddaughter of the Reverend Nicholas Dreswick, the much-respected historian of the island of Sodor. They had 3 children, Richard Topham Hatt, funny name, born in 1972, and the current Sir Topham Hatt IV, Charles Nicholas, 1974, and Emily Helen, 1977. He played a part in arranging for the construction of the Arsdale Railway's new engine, jock in 1990, a project which has been dear to his father's heart. With great skill, he masterminded the arrangement for the royal visit in 1995, when he welcomed the Prince of Wales on his first visit to the island. After retiring in 2023 and refusing to let his age affect him, he helped set up and became the chairman of the recently constructed Crovens Gate Preservation Society, of which Neil is to be the first working engine of its museum. So there is basically a railway museum now on Sodor.
I don't like all of these new additions that Chris and his son have added to the railway series. I think the railway series ended in 2011 with the Fat Controller's engines, and even then it ended with tramway engines. But yeah, we have to accept Chris's stuff. But it ended in 2011, and I don't like that they're now trying to add all this useless extra information. Like it's already over. You don't have to keep dragging it. Like the railway series is over.
Yeah, I know. The Fat
so
Controller,
I'm not a
the
huge
fourth,
fan of all of
the new additions.
Yeah.
I will say I do find it really, really funny that there is a nuclear power plant on Sodor. That's the only thing that... You don't?
I don't. No, I don't find that funny. I find it pretty ridiculous. Well, it's not ridiculous. It is obviously possible, but I don't think, like, Sodor, really... Like...
Yeah, okay, if you think about it, no, it doesn't really fit the aesthetic that the railway is based around.
No, it doesn't. Like, you have steam engines, and then you have a nuclear power plant. Like, that's... Okay,
like,
bro.
I think it was already a stretch when they introduced Pip and Emma, the HST. I think that's...
I don't think that was a stretch. That actually was related to the railways and stuff, and it made sense for the modern times. I think Pip and Emma makes sense. It's a nuclear power plant which has nothing to do with the railways and completely disjoints the whole aesthetic and stuff. That is what has me... That's the problem I have. Like
it kind of just sounds like they felt like they had to add something, and they were like, fuck it, why don't we just add a nuclear power plant? But hey, the Fat Controller the Fourth, B 1972. As heir apparent, Richard Topham had succeeded from his father as the Fat Controller in 2023, who retired at the age of 82. At an age of only 51, the Fat Controller no doubt has a long and exciting career ahead of him. And everyone on the island is excited at what the future of the island of Sodor and its railways hold with Richard now at the helm. One of the Fat Controller's first tasks was to present his father a unique retirement gift, that of Neil, one of the oldest working engines on the island, to be the first engine entered into the Crovens Gate Preservation Society. Okay, I'm starting to not really like the Crovens Gate Preservation Society because it kind of creates the feeling that they're like, we have all these steam engines. It's like they're trying to modernize the railway too much. It feels like they're like, oh, we want to bring all these... I have a feeling Richard, the one who apparently... He took over the entire railway series stuff, right? The lore stuff.
He is now the lore keeper, if you want to call it that.
I have a suspicious feeling that he might add some very modern things to it, and a lot of old engines... Not the popular ones, like 1 to, let's say, 12 are probably fine. But I have a feeling a lot of the other ones, especially the very old ones, are probably going to go to the Crovens Gates Preservation Society. Which kind of ruins the entire magic. I kind of like the idea of Sodor being a heritage railway more than it being an actual still active railway.
Really?
In some ways yes, in some ways no.
I mean, I get the appeal, I do, but it's also like Like, it's like...
Like, them, Sodo still... Like, Sodo can still work as an actual railway, that's fine. But if they're doing this stuff, that kind of ruins it. That's what I mean. It can exist as its own railway, that's fine. But if they're gonna do this stuff now, I like the idea of it being a heritage line more. Or a heritage island.
I'm gonna be totally honest. I just don't really like a lot of the stuff that Christopher adds to the lore. Like, I mean, some of it is good. I like Pip and Emma, I like Jock, and I like some of the stories and stuff, but all of these new additions that he and his son are adding feel so forced. They're trying to modernize everything, like, say, like, oh, we're in 2023 and stuff, and it's like... The Railway series is over. We don't have to keep dragging a dead horse.
Just reading 2023 in a Railway series lore book feels wrong.
It was already bad. It was already bad enough when they said 2011. It's like, okay. Okay.
Yeah, but
now it's like...
Wasn't that book... Oh yeah, that it also says it in this. That book was written for the 100th century of Wilbert Awdry.
Centenary?
Centenary. That's the word.
I mean, yeah, that's nice and all. Like, okay, a part of me likes that the railway just keeps going all the way up until the 2011, 2010s, 2020s. That's all nice and dandy, and it's nice. But the problem I have with it is that nothing changes. Like, it's just the engines keep on living, like, no consequences and stuff. It's like, okay, we just keep going. Like, we never mention, like, overhauls and stuff. Like, okay, there's one story where Henry has to have an overhaul. That's it. That's all it. That's everything. That's everything. And, I don't know. I'm just honest. It's hard to explain into words, but it's like, the Railway series recently mentioned, like, coal has been discovered on Sodor. Like, there's a coal mine on Sodor. And to me, it's like, didn't we kind of already get that from the TV show? Like, we already know there's a coal mine on Sodor based on a TV show, so I don't really get...
Yeah, but they have to make a canon to the Railway series.
Oh, fuck the canon. Oh, my God.
I think that's what they did. I think they saw, like, oh, there are a bunch of coal plants in the TV series. Why don't we add one to the Railway series? Why don't we add a nuclear power plant as well?
It's just... The way I view the franchise is that there's one canon. There's one canon, and everything is in it. Like, there's one canon. And I know that the intention is that the Railway series is its own thing. But that's not what it felt like when I grew up. When I grew up, it felt like everything was one big connected thing. When I watched the TV show, I imagined the bear being in the background somewhere. When I read the Railway series books, I imagined Molly being in the background somewhere. Because it all felt connected based on, like, marketing and stuff. It all felt like one big universe.
Yeah.
And now I'm learning that everything is like, no, we have to separate things. We have to separate the classic series and the CGI series. We have to separate the books from the TV show, and not accept retcons when retcons exist. Like, things can be retcon, guys. It's like,
yeah, that is true.
I feel like all this kind of ruins it.
The thing is, what it more feels like is that they're trying to have everything coexist, but they're failing at it. That's the thing. They're playing too much with the material in the wrong ways, and that's what creates all the disassociation. Because having a nuclear power plant isn't too surprising, since they just casually added it in the background of a set in Heave Ho Hank.
That is true. That is very true.
It was already on the island, so that's why I was like, having a nuclear power plant isn't too far of a stretch. Like, Sodor is going to have an extremely industrial side of it. It can't just be all docks, yards, stations, and countryside. That's not possible. And mines, of course. That's not possible. It's gonna have an industrial side, especially if it's still an actual railway. It's got to have that. And maybe they could have done something with that in the law. If they're gonna add something, why not expand on that? Like, why is there a nuclear power plant on Sodor? Well, it's because they created an entire new industrial section. And maybe add a few engines there. And that could work in some way. Like your words exactly. A good writer can make any story work.
Those are not my words, but
they
thanks.
are your words. No.
I've said those words. I've said those words.
I'm just saying the most recent person I've heard that from is you. It's something you said yourself. That I could have worded it better, but it's fine.
I did not create the phrase. I
am aware of that, Alfie. I am aware of you not creating that phrase.
I just want you to know that
That you?
Anyway, what was the point of this? Point is, I think Thomas should have a complete canonicity reset and everything. I think we should start from scratch. And sadly, that is not what the 2026 project is doing. Anyway, back to Sodor reading between the lines.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've talked about one part, and this feels kind of like the characters podcast, where we talk almost nothing about the other points, but then we come to fucking Molly, and we talk for 20 minutes.
Yeah. How long have we been going now?
22 minutes.
Oh my god. Yeah, we're rambling about lore. Yeah.
Hey, that's the point of a podcast.
God, Thomas the Tank Engine lore is so fucking not good.
Ooh, you want to know? Yeah, it was good, but then it wasn't. Okay,
no, it wasn't. This is all another podcast, but like, let's continue with sort of reading between the lines.
Just the Thomas Lore podcast. We'll put that on the back burner for now. Yeah. But one of the most interesting things I read in the book was actually the creation of Thomas becoming an E2, because from what I've known, it was the I don't remember who
Reginald Payne.
was.
Reginald Payne.
Yeah. Apparently, that's not the reason Thomas is an E2. It wasn't Reginald Payne. As quote, when they were publishing, he knew he wanted authenticity and needed a genuine prototype for the illustrator to base his drawing on. He chose, he being Audrey, the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway E2 tank engine, perhaps simply because he had a convenient photograph to hand. So Thomas being
that
an
is
E2
interesting. That is
Thomas
interesting.
Being an E2
was an Audrey decision.
It was an Audrey decision, and I genuinely stared mouth open at the book, being like, "It was an Audrey decision? What?"
Okay, we always knew that it was never meant to be a J50. That's just something that he made for the toy. Those are some fuck-ass bases Audrey made.
Yeah, and I think that's also because it's just easy to make. A J50 is just a box with a few corners.
Yeah,
that's
but
J50.
I always thought like it was a Payne decision, but no, it was a Audrey one. That is interesting. That actually changes a lot of ways I view Thomas now. Oh my god!
To a toy
so he was always meant to be.
Yeah, when the stories were simply accompanied to a toy. Well, I'm just going to read the entire thing because I'm rambling. Was Thomas based on a specific engine? Not at first. The stories were simply accompanied to the toy engine he made for me, so Audrey. When they were published, he knew he wanted authenticity and needed a genuine prototype for the illustrator to base his drawings on. He chose the London, Brighton and South Coast Railways E2. So it being that's probably one of the most interesting things I've read in this book. The fact that Thomas being an E2 was a genuine Audrey decision.
And you're back. Woo!
Sorry for the intermission. It being very strange, but not surprising that it was an actual Audrey decision. Because with how deep Audrey went into the entire lore, it doesn't surprise me that he also thought about this.
I don't think Audrey thought that much about making Thomas an E2. I thought if what Christopher said in that book is to be taken literally, he just so happened to have a good illustration of an E2 and handed it to the illustrator so we wouldn't have any confusion and stuff. That is why.
And that's
that
perfectly valid.
It is valid, but it also means that Thomas being an E2 doesn't matter.
No. It doesn't matter.
Which isn't how it should be, because for Edward it matters that he's a K2. For Gordon it matters that he's a Pacific. For Henry it very much matters what he is. And for James it kind of matters what type of engine he is. And especially
don't talk
Percy.
about my gender issues like that. I have rights as well. Continue. Yeah, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Speaking of Henry.
Yeah.
I read an interesting thing about the story Henry Sneeze.
And that is?
Let me, I quote, one line which was omitted from the story. Oh, God damn it. Just... Henry Sneeze was an orderly story. Yeah, I found it.
Of course, yeah.
Henry Sneeze. You're gonna find this one funny. The originally published text of the story referred to the boys running away, and I quote, as black as censored.
Yeah.
Did you know about this? I think you did.
Of course I did. I think that's pretty common information that the N word was used in the original publication of Henry Sneeze.
No, but I forgot about it, and it was really funny reading it again.
Yeah, it really shows at the time how like.
It was a book from the 1951, and I know that doesn't make it better. But
I don't want to call Audrey racist. I really don't.
He wasn't.
But I do want to say that people were very uneducated at the time. That is what I want to say.
Because at that point, in the 50s, it's a common people who did not care. It wasn't a racist term to say to someone of color. We're getting into very sensitive territory right now, but I don't care.
Yeah, it is.
It had become an actual word, and I know this because my grandma a while back said it as well when watching TV, and I was like, "Grandma, you can't say that anymore." And she was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've caught my grandma saying it a couple times, and it's like, my grandma is one of the nicest people I know, and I know that she just grew up that way, and that was normal back then, and she probably hasn't learned how insensitive it is to say now, and she only ever says it like when she's around family and stuff, so it really kind of doesn't matter. But at the same time, it's like maybe when don't do that.
Like when you think about it, you think like, okay, I can't blame them for it, but when you're in the moment and you hear it just casually come out of someone's mouth, you just get shell shocked in the moment.
Yeah, it's like, Jesus Christ, like, calm down.
Grandma, calm down. Are you drunk? Another small tidbit. Gordon arrived with an extra boiler.
Oh, yeah. I think I knew that.
Then in 1923, it was sold... It, being Gordon, was sold to the Northwestern Railway along with a spare boiler.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Makes sense.
How do you feel about that?
I really have no feelings about it.
Oh, it's just, okay.
That's the type of lore stuff that's like, okay, I don't care. That doesn't change my perception of Gordon or anything. It's just like, okay, he arrived with an extra boiler. That's good for maintenance. That doesn't change Gordon's character, that, like, he had an extra boiler.
You also want to... another thing about Henry, which is a line I found pretty funny, was... And this is just Henry's bio section. There have actually been, in fact, 2 Henrys. For the story of why this is, please see the frequently asked questions section under engines, which we'll go to in a sec. Suffice here to say that since Henry's return from crew, he has been, to use my father's expression, a reformed character. So technically, there have been two Henrys.
No, there hasn't.
But not in the literal way.
Okay, yeah, that's information we already knew. I mean, Audrey wrote like Henry 1, Henry 2, and so there it's People, History, and Railways. Like, so that's pretty common information that like that the two Henrys. There are two Henrys, but like only like personality wise, it's the same engine. It's the same engine, and everything. Just when Henry is ill and when Henry's in his old shape, he acts like a little bitch, and when he's in his new shape, he acts like a total chad and also a jackass. So.
Yeah, that's basically it's the only thing that's different is a character switch. That's all. That's what they mean with two Henrys.
I think it's more that Henry just gains confidence. It's more that Henry just gains confidence. That's really what happens. Like he no longer is ill, and now he wants to show the world that like, hey, you were wrong to like doubt me and stuff. I'm gonna show you.
Yeah, exactly. Also, Pete Sam. And the refreshment lady is based on an actual account by Audrey, which I think you already knew that.
Yeah.
It's something Audrey witnessed. But one thing you might not know is that the refreshment lady is married to Peter Sam's driver.
Oh, is she?
She is.
That's actually really sweet.
Which I thought was pretty cute. Let me just go to the people section. Yeah, refreshment lady. Her son-in-law, who was as a newly man, actually the driver of Peter Sam on the continued to work on the branch line for 10 years after the incident related in faulted engines, and then enjoyed 20 years of contented retirement before her death in 1986. Her son-in-law, who was as newly married man, actually the driver of Peter Sam. Oh, no, never mind. I read it incorrectly. Well, Tom Tipper is also retired. He lives in a cottage near Farquhar Station. I thought you might like
would have been
to know
nice
that.
to have would have been nice to have seen that in a book, but okay.
Yeah, that why not make the new books about this? Like Chris also says in this book
it's very much licensing issues. It's like I can't really write about my own characters and stuff. I don't know, because Mattel owns them. And...
Yeah, but it's also because the publishers literally don't mention this shit to Chris, because they have a feeling the books might not sell too well, which is bullcrap. If there were actual Railway Series books, like separate books, constantly in stores, of course, not just fans, but especially parents would also buy them. But parents, like he also says, are not going to buy a 200 £200 set of books for their child.
No,
it's not going to happen. But you know, if Richard wants to do anything, instead of adding to the lore that's already established, Richard could write stories about lore that already exists and what we have not delved into much. And
I'm afraid that's not as simple, because that has to go through Mattel and stuff. The reason this is able to go be published is because, you know, it's not really like that big of a Thomas. Like it's more personal. Well, regular Thomas stories would Mattel get Mattel tax.
Yeah, that is true. But I also mean, like, he could either write it just officially online for fans to read, so basically for free. But if not, if he can somehow he can just write the stories, and if he somehow fixes the licensing issues with Mattel, he could just keep those in the back burner for a while, and when the opportunity arises, he could release them as books. Because like tons of unique storybooks are released every single year about Thomas. Did you actually see the new 2026 book cover that was leaked?
Yeah, I did.
What's your opinion on that?
It's just traced renders. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, touche. That is true. Anything else to say about this?
Nope.
Nope. Well, of course, Mrs. Kitty Kindly. That's just cute. I just love that her name is Kitty Kindly.
Yeah.
Nancy lives on the Isle of Man now. Nancy Russian. She's married and has, I think, her kids. Yeah, their daughter's married on Sodor and still live on Sodor, and they often make journeys back to Sodor to visit their children. But Nancy lives on the Isle of Man, which was a fun tidbit. Cool,
I suppose.
Also, the Express was also mentioned a lot as the Jazz Express.
Excuse me?
Yeah, okay, okay. I don't know where this is, so just hold on while I try to find it. Maybe it's in the Thomas section. Also, it says that Thomas, that it might be possible that Thomas came to Sodor during war issues, because it's not really written down how he got to Sodor. So it might Thomas and World War I might be canon. Is canon.
What do you mean? That's not new information.
I just read it, okay?
Okay. But that would have been nice to see in a book. It would have been nice to have seen in a book.
Yeah, Thomas and the trenches. Alright, the Jazz Express. Where did I read this? I know it was somewhere. Because I saw it multiple times. Wait, maybe it's in the stories section. There are also some nice photographs of the Audrey family in here.
Yeah, I've seen that. That is
cute.
really nice. It is.
There's also in the character section, there's an entire section called Sidetracked, and it's just Barry.
Nice.
And the reason, yeah, it's obvious. We all know why Barry doesn't exist. It's because of publishing stuff, and they wanted more Thomas, and they didn't really want new characters. But also, all the writings and stories for Barry have been lost.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So sadly, no comeback for Barry.
Poor Barry.
Oh, poor Barry. Now, where is Gordon? So Thomas and Gordon. Thomas, as station pilot at Vickerstown, cheeks Gordon, but accidentally gets his comeuppance when having taken the coaches of the express to the platform. The station staff forget to uncouple him, and he gets pulled along with the train. I understand that the basis of this idea was an incident which took place on Liverpool Street, London, and the train in question was one of the great... Oh, never mind. The real life basis is the jazz... In the real life basis, it's based on a jazz commuter train. Thomas and Gordon was based on something that happened on the Great Eastern Railway in a jazz commuter train. You know, I've only read this book once, so mistakes can happen.
Yeah.
Also, Alsborough is known as Alsburg. That's the official naming. And Sodor is supposed to be pronounced with an elongated O, so Sudor.
Hell no. Hell no.
I had a feeling you were going to...
It's Sodor.
Like, yeah, it is. It's... Yeah, it's just Sodor.
Anyone who says Sudor. Anyone who says Sudor is genuinely like...
Yeah. Please note, incidentally, that this should be pronounced Sudor with a long O. No, it fucking doesn't, Chris. No, it's not Sudor.
It's not Sudor. It's not Reneus. It's Reneus. I'm just going to put that out there.
I like that statement. I like it.
It's not Fake. It's Farquhar. I'm sorry to
it's
all the
called
RWS purists out.
It's not. No.
I'm afraid that all the RWS purists are wrong. It's Sodor. You can't just change it now. It's too late.
what shall I choose next? Because I have a bunch of more. I still have a bunch of stuff. Oh, Sleeping Beauty. The story was based on a story from South America of an engine stuck in a jungle.
Yeah.
I take it you already knew about that. Yeah, I've already told about Tom Tipper, Why Incest, Barry, other books. Yeah, the reference also had written a bunch of other books. Like he wrote what were they called? They were about cars.
I know which one you're talking about.
Belinda the Beatle and Belinda Beats the Band. And he wrote a children's prayer book in 1951.
That's nice.
That's nice. But it isn't surprising. He was a reverend after all. Also, you might like to know that Bold Out was based on a true story.
Oh, that's nice. I could have figured all of Audrey's stories are based on true stories.
And the sucking of the hat was also real. I'm so happy that Bold Out actually happened. Also, the Audrey family wasn't too happy with Americans. That's also a thing.
When are they ever?
No, but it's specifically about Sir Topham Hatt.
Because they had to rename him because they had to rename him.
But they're more. They say it's a pity that Britt Allcroft was coerced by the Americans into using character's proper name in order to sell her TP product over there, which is it's just sad. It's just sad.
Audrey definitely had autism.
Oh, you don't say. You don't say. I gave the above explanation on each occasion. Just one of my questions disagreed with my view. So I cannot feel that down at grassroots, the PC movement on this point, even over there, is really as strong as it must have been made out to be. That's so sad.
Yeah.
Let's see. Have I gone... Oh, James was a failed experiment.
Mm-hmm.
His class was apparently a bit... What was it again?
Front heavy?
Yeah, they were front heavy.
Yeah.
It's running
Those
there.
LNY are class 28s and stuff. Yeah, that's I knew that.
Yeah, nose heavy. But James's pony truck at first didn't work, and it only started working when he was fixed at Croven's Gate.
It's always the Croven's Gate crew that always fixes everything.
It's so ironic. Like, that's so plot convenient. Oh yeah, he came to Sodo and he was magically fixed. Yeah, I'm starting to read a lot of.
The Croven's Gate works are just geniuses, I guess.
I suppose, yeah. So why aren't others? Why is it only Croven's Gate?
They're built different, I guess. It's the Sudrian spirit, I guess.
Oh. Yeah, I read about that. Yeah. That one will be lost. All right. One of the final parts I want to talk about is at the ending of the book, which I know for a fact I really, really enjoyed reading it. So basically, at the back of the book, they added something which the original Soda Reading Between the Lines book didn't have, which was illustrator notes. Chris found while working on the book, well, not really working on the book, just he was cleaning out his garage, and he found a bunch of old sketches and drawings and messages between Audrey and the publishers. And it's a really interesting read. Like there's a full description of Duck, like what a duck actually has to look like. there are a bunch of sketches and drawings of stations and original lines of pieces of paper on which stories were written. It also says that Orgy was very sustainable with his paper usage. Like, he would use just any piece of scrap paper. Like, one story, I don't know where I can find this right now, but was written on a piece of tax paper that was used in 1926. Oh, here it is. Trouble in the Sheds was written on a turned over piece of paper with accounting from 1926. And there is also the original sketch for Down the Mine, for when Thomas falls in the mine. And original sketches for Toby, for Thomas in Trouble. And Thomas in Trouble was originally going to be called Thomas and the Police, which I found pretty fascinating. And
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
There was also a sketch for Percy's Cab. I very much glossed over that. But yeah, a lot of like letters from Edmund Ward, the publishers, about name changes and stuff. I think at some point they I really want to find this now because it's all really interesting. There's the Down the Mine sketch. No. Oh, this is all the illustrator notes for the Small Railway Engines book. That's also in here. It was something about the James book, because around the time that the James book was released, British Railways was being formed, like the conglomerate, the together thing. And the publishers were trying to get some, here it is. Above, James the Red Engine was originally titled The Adventures of James. Below, correspondence from E. Ward showing the original illustrator's lack of railway knowledge. I think it would be better to have some sort of railway flavor in the title. And I would suggest James Joins British Railways. Imagine if James's book was called James Joins British Railways.
Goddamn.
Goddamn indeed. And yeah, of course, the entire thing about what duck is supposed to look like. You know what? I'll leave that to you to read when you get your copy.
Right.
If you're
thanks.
getting your own copy.
Any more notes you have? Any more stuff to discuss?
There are two more things, and these
all right. Let's go over those.
This line is actually in the book, and it's really funny because it's entirely true. Audrey would be doing this. Someone remarked the other day that if my father could see, he wouldn't just be spinning in his grave, but humming as well.
I mean, yeah, he would.
Audrey would probably have an aneurysm if he saw the current state of his entire creation. Audrey would not be happy. Oh boy, he would have had a fit. But yeah, and the last thing is something I alluded to in when I brought this podcast episode up to you. Mm-hmm. When I said there is something that isn't entirely correct in this book, and it's personal to us.
Oh.
Because we witnessed him in real life. And that being, none of Edward's original class have survived. You see where I'm going with this?
I mean, he's not entirely wrong.
He isn't entirely wrong. But the fact that when you were here, and we went to the Railway Museum in Utrecht, in the Netherlands, and there was an engine from Glasgow who was basically a one-on-one of a K2, sitting at the entrance, and we didn't even see him at first because we were looking up his ass.
Yeah.
And I remember reading that line when I started reading the book, I think last Thursday, and I immediately went to Google and searched it up, and there is actual debate online if this is an actual K2.
K2?
Because it's called a sharp Stuart. And despite there being a few, like, I think the only one I actually saw that was viable was the wheel size. The wheel size was a bit different. But despite that, if you put them side to side, they're basically the same engine. And I think you can back me up on this, or is your opinion completely different?
No, I agree.
So what do you think? Do you think Edward still lives?
Not the original, not the intended one.
Then who is it? Now I want to think about it. It's Edward's. It would be a cousin. No, brother. It would be
I
a
think
brother.
no, it's Edward's cousin. They're not entirely the same.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's all I wanted to talk about with reading between the lines. There is a bunch more to discuss in this book, but I'm not gonna spoil the entire thing for you. I just wanted to mention some stuff I noticed and thought interesting, and I hope you have a very fun time reading the book yourself, and especially reading the last section of it, because it's not a lot, but it is very fascinating. Oh, one thing. We all know that Dolby and Audrey had their grievances.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's not entirely true. Audrey genuinely liked Dolby and genuinely did his absolute best to help him draw the stuff accurately. He made a lot of notes that he sent to Dolby to help Dolby with drawing. But in the end, it just didn't. It ended up just falling out. That's the last thing. But yeah, do you have anything else to add to this episode?
Nope.
Well then, we thank you all for listening, and hopefully we'll see you in another episode soon. Yeah. So goodbye. Aren't you gonna say goodbye?
Nah, I think the audience already knows.
Oh, okay. What
Bye.
a heartless... Okay.
No,
Goodbye.
I'm saying goodbye. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.